Hello and welcome back, everybody. Today I'm going to talk about converting between radian and degree measures. As you may know, they're both angle measures. Looking at number one, to convert from degrees to radians, you're going to take your x amount of degrees and then multiply it by pi radians over 180 degrees. For number two here, you're going to take radians, x amount of radians, multiply it by 180 degrees over pi radians. Now without further ado, let's look at a couple of examples. In our first example, we have 120 degrees. We're asked to convert from degrees to radians, so throughout those three problems, we're going to use number one. So to convert from degrees to radians, we said we're going to take x amount of degrees. In this case, we have 120, so 120 degrees times pi radians. I'll just put RAD for radians over 180 degrees. Now, since we have our setup, let's continue on with the math. 120 degrees times pi radians over 180 degrees. Well, the degrees are going to cancel, and then we're left with radians as our unit. 120 over 180 is 2 over 3. And then let's not forget our pi here. So our answer is 2 over 3 pi radians. Moving on to the next one, we have 60 degrees. The setup does not change. Times pi radians over 180 degrees. The degrees are going, the degrees are going to cancel, and then we're left with 60 over 180, which is 1 over 3. But since we have the pi here, I'll just write pi at the top, and we have 3 at the bottom. And then let's not forget RAD for radians, and that's our unit. For our last problem, we have negative 220 degrees times pi radians over 180 degrees. The degrees cancel. We're left with negative 220 over 180, which if you put it into a calculator, it'll give you 11 over 9. We have our pi and we have our unit. So that's it. Let's look at, let's try practicing converting between or from radians to degrees. So in our first one, we have pi over 6 here. Notice how the angle gain measure from the positive x-axis all the way up to pi over 6. So we're going to take pi over 6 times, we're going to use number 2. So radians to degrees, x amount of radians times 180 degrees over pi radians. Now, the pi's are going to cancel. I left out the radians here. Well, the radians are going to cancel too. And then we're left with 180 degrees over 6, which gives you 30 degrees. For our next problem, we have pi over 3. So nothing changes. We have pi over 3 radians times 180 degrees over pi radians. Pi radians are going to cancel. We're left with 180 degrees over 3, which gives us 60 degrees. Let's do 2 more. we have negative pi over 4. So we have negative pi over 4. Nothing changes. Just because we have a negative doesn't mean we need to freak out or the world is going to end. We have negative pi over 4 times x amount of radians, which is, times 180 degrees over pi radians. Forgot the unit here again. Pi radians. We have pi radians. The pi's are going to cancel. We're left with 180 divided by 4. If you put this into the calculator, you're going to get 45 degrees. Let's not forget our negative sign here. Negative 45 degrees. This is important because the sign in front of the angle in which we're converting tells us a lot about tells us where the angle has started, either from the negative side of the positive x-axis or the positive side of the positive x-axis, or if the angle has gone counterclockwise or clockwise. Our last example here, we have negative 4 pi over 3. As you can see from the arrow, the angle started from here. This is the initial side, and this is the terminal side. So taking negative 4 pi over 3 radians, and if we multiply it by 180 degrees over pi radians, the pi radians are going to cancel. We're left with negative 4 times 180 over 3. And if you put this into the calculator, 4 pi over 3 times 180, we are going to get negative 240 degrees. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Please, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Please also subscribe to my channel. This is going to help it grow more. If you have any questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to leave a comment in the comment section below, and we'll see you in the next video.